Do you know who Vilfredo Pareto is? He's an Italian economist. So he's the guy who coined the phrase the 80-20 rule. Now, the 80-20 rule he was applying to economy. He was an economist. But it turns out that the 80-20 rule applies to a lot of different stuff in life. So in your business, 80% of your profits is going to come from 20% of your clients or the type of clients. So in my practice, 80% of our profits come from speech therapy, even though we provide OT, PT, and tutoring. It's just how it is. So basically, 20% of your effort is going to result in 80% of the results. So let's break that down even further, apply the 80-20 rule to the 80-20 rule. And I didn't come up with this, but I read it here recently. It's fascinating. So if we apply the 80-20 rule to the 80-20 rule, take 20% of 80, 20% of 20, you get 64 over 4. 64% of the effects come from 4% of your efforts. So that means 96% of the things that you do don't make a big difference. They don't make a big difference. So think about your day and what you're doing minute to minute, hour to hour. 96% of what you're doing is not propelling the business. It's not making a positive effect on your business for the most part. I mean, it's the 64-4 rule, right? So figure out in your day the things that are really not making a difference. But more importantly, figure out the things that are making the difference. The 20% or the 4% that is making and causing the effect of the growth of your business. I would tend to say that you doing one-on-one treatment is not lending itself to the growth of the business as much as you think it does. See, most of us go into business wanting a job in our own business. We are what the E-Myth book calls, which I highly recommend, the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. We are, most of us, what he calls are technicians. We are therapists who have a job in our own therapy company, where what we should be doing is being a business owner who is running and growing the business like only a business owner can. So I want you to think about the 80-20 rule, break it down even further to the 64-4 rule, all right? So are you a business owner or just a therapist who has a job in your own business? And guess what? You will be your own worst boss ever. You'll be harder on yourself than any boss you've ever had. So don't just be a therapist who has a job in their own business. Apply the 80-20 rule and the 64-4 rule in thinking about your business. So if you're interested in starting your own practice, I've got a free webinar coming up. So go to startatherapypractice.com/webinars. You can sign up for that webinar and subscribe to the podcast. It's called Start a Therapy Practice. All right, until next time, Godspeed.